Hello everybody, my name is Carrow Brown. I am an urban fantasy author. I also write romance under the name of Faye Black, and I am here today to talk about my planning system for 2023. This is the second time I have tried to record this video today. I had it all laid out and done, and what happened is I was going back through the footage and my mic wasn't on. So, we're doing it again, and hopefully it will be more streamlined this time. The planning system I use is a traveler's notebook. It is the B7 notebook size for those of you who are interested in that kind of thing. I have several inserts in here, and what I will do is kind of go through all of them, share what their purpose is, and I am mostly curious if I'm going to stick with this because one of the things that I have noticed over time is I tend to change things up about every 3 months. Not quite planner hopping, but what happens is things kind of occur in my life in which I have to adjust or this just doesn't work. So I have come up with a way where I think that will reduce the friction in this, but you know, we'll see how the year pans out. Anyway, so let's go ahead and switch the camera angle and you guys can look at this. Okay, so this is my planner. I call it Chonky after the initial video where I introduced it, and initially I had 3.5 inserts in here, but since then it has gone up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gone up to 5 inserts, and they all have a different purpose. Now, I'll go ahead and just do this all in one go, since I already know what I'm going to say. The first insert is my word count. It is just a calendar that I got, and all I'm going to do is put in the numbers that I write in the word count that I have done for the day. For the Mill Wordy challenge, for those of you who are not aware, Mill Wordy is where somebody tries to write 1 million words within the course of a year. So that's 2,740 words per day. Or in my case, I just want to round that up to 3,000 because there might be a couple of times where I want to take a day off. The entire motivation behind this, which also came from Kate Kavanaugh, was that in writing and continuing to write, you perfect that skill a little bit more. And I am a big fan of that mentality. Now, I used to do this in a spreadsheet, and as I continue to progress forward with how I'd like to work things, I have been moving away from technology just a little bit. So all I'm going to do is just write the word count in here, and that's pretty much it. It is a very thin insert. You can get that from Etsy if you are curious. My following insert is kind of my monthly semi-bullet journal little notebook thing, and the monthly looks a little bit like this. And it's really just kind of where I'm keeping a bird eye view, because it's got an owl, right? I got a bird eye view of everything that's going on. You'll see that I have a code here for the things that I'm trying to focus on when it comes to my life. And one thing I realized after I did this the first time is I did not want to keep writing that. So what I did was I made a little flip out chart right here, like so. So that way when I come back to this, this is hard. Okay, that's a bad page. So that way I could just flip that out and take a look at it anytime I needed to. So that was pretty much what I was going to do there. Now the bullet journal part kind of comes a little bit later because I've got some things going on in my life. One of them being that I'm probably going to move to Texas. And so I'm trying to get a head start on that just a little bit by making a to-do list. Now when that move is going to happen, I'm not quite sure, but I just want it to be ready. So this is the to-do checklist of things I want to get done before the move. And then I've got some blank pages for house hunting, local area notes, stuff like that. This right here are all the works that I would like to get published within 2023. These are all self-published works, mostly under the name of Faye Black. I think I've only got 2 titles in here for Carrow Brown. And a lot of this has to do with my 13-week challenge to see how that goes and what I want to do moving forward. Birthdays, trackers, because I'm very bad with those. Keeping in touch, so the people I keep in touch with, how often I do, what does that look like? This is my media digest, so all the media that I consume and my star rating right next to it. If anybody's interested, I have a couple pages of that. In 2023, I'm trying to do a no spend challenge. So I am a notorious therapy spender. So when I am sad or whatever, I go straight to Etsy and I start buying random shit I don't need. So I am going to try and curb that by keeping an eye on my spending, and this is pretty much the chart that I've got for that. That's something I'm not going to explain right now. These are all my blog posts, concept ideas, and what I want to do with them. And I'm just kind of keeping an eye on that chart. This is my to-do list for Final Fantasy XIV. I do play MMOs, so these are the things that I'm kind of working on. I have another page with more to-do lists that I'm going to add. I just haven't decided what that's going to be. Cleaning to-do checklist, kind of an overview. Still working on that. This is supposed to be like a self-care thing that I want to put in, so these are the things that I would like to do for self-care. I have not populated it yet, but I'm working on it. Those are my earnings as authors, mostly zeros right now. Weight tracker, health stuff. So that's pretty much what this is. This is probably more akin to an actual bullet journal in the way that I used to do it. And part of the reason I did it this way is because a lot of the things that are in here are things that aren't going to be done in the course of a week or done in the course of a day. So I wanted to keep it all kind of concentrated right here. Now the second insert is more of my Alistair method task tracker or kind of timekeeper thing right here. And a finished one looks a lot like this. So on here I have the tasks that I'm trying to complete for the week when I get those tasks done. Here again, you'll see that I've got that key again that I mentioned before about me trying to make sure that I'm doing things that are kind of important to the different areas of my life. If you take a look, I've got a lot of things here for friends and work, but I don't have a lot of stuff on here for mental or physical health, which I really do need to work on. I also don't have anything on here for giving. So, and giving is something that I would like to do a little bit more of in the terms of like donating or something akin to that. I haven't quite worked it out yet. Here I've got miles I run during the week, hours slept, any big reminders that I have going on, and then here I just write in like the calendar and then I highlight what week we're on. So that is that insert. This is actually the way that I used to bullet journal for 6 months this year. And even though I kind of moved away from it, I always wanted to have like this kind of view on it. And what happens is over the week, or at least on Sunday, I plan out my week and then I go to my dailies, which are going to be over here. And I kind of talk about what that, or I don't really talk about, let me rephrase that. What happens is I plan it out on Sunday and then I go to the daily and then I work it in after that. But this is kind of just a concentrated view of it. Let me go ahead and find that spot that I lost. My bookmark is a little photo that I had printed out at Walmart of Evie, because we like Evie in this house. Now, I was going to show you guys what the inside of this looks like, but unfortunately because I have an NDA and I actually keep my work notes in here, I can't really show what's going on. I used to be able to, but all the pages that I had been able to now have stuff on there that I can't. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you guys the book that I have set up for January. So these little notebooks that you get from Good Impressions or Good Ink Impressions can hold about 3 months depending on how you have it set up. This one only has 2 because I accidentally picked the smaller one, so that's my fault. But what it looks like is I have the checklist of things that I need to get done, whatever the priority of that checklist is. So I get the checklist, I say which one's the priority, so that way I get it done first thing in the morning. Any big important things I need to remember, and then I track what I eat right here just for the sake of awareness. I don't calorie count or anything like that. I just kind of make note of like, what did I eat today? And then here is kind of like my daily agenda, which I use more for memory keeping purposes and task tracking. Here is my general notes. So this is where I scribble in like things from meetings or anything like that. I got daily tarot that I pull, and then I've got the word of the day that my husband and I go through. And then right here, obviously that is a calendar, and I have like a stamp set, which is absolutely fantastic. I love the stamp set. And this is what I use to track what day it is. I used to write it in the top, but if I can just highlight it like so, that makes it a little bit easier, right? Yeah, that's how we like it. Could I talk any faster? Absolutely. But that is what the daily insert here looks like, pretty much, minus the fact that it's going to be a little different. After that is this Hobonichi A6 that I got. It doesn't quite fit. I know, again, that's what makes it a little chunky. It overlaps just a little tiny bit. And that originally bothered me, but at the same time, I'm kind of over it. Probably something I will do not this year, because I've already invested in these inserts, is I will make sure that if I get another one of these, I will make sure that the inserts are the same size, and probably have to get a new one of these. Money investment. But this Hobonichi A6 is going to be my little wellness tracker, planner, whatever you want to call it, is the wellness book. We call it the wellness book now. And in here, I will be doing things like tracking my weight, what exercise I am doing, and putting it right on this year overview, because those are things that I do want to keep tabs on. I notice that when I am feeling sad or not doing very well, this is a big thing that is an indicator to me, kind of like sleep as well. And then on the calendar view that we've got here, and I'm just going to cover that up because that's got some stuff on there. This is going to track whatever mood I felt for the day was. So that way, again, it raises self-awareness. And then in the detail box right here, I'm going to write what the good thing of the day was. And part of why I want to do that, and again, it's not a gratitude journal kind of thing. It's more of, I want to focus on the good things that happened during the course of the day. Mostly because when I'm feeling lonely and sad or unmotivated, I want to know that something good happened that day, because that kind of awareness and that shift in focus is good. I'm not a super big fan of the gratitude journal in the sense that if I have to sit there and tell myself that I am a lovely beacon of light for others, then even though I'm telling that thing to myself over and over, it just makes me hyper focus on the fact that, you know, other things are not like that. So that is what I'm doing with the calendar overview. And I'm trying to keep it easy peasy lemon squeezy. I don't want this to be too much work, because if there's more friction to it, I won't do it. And then here is where I'm going to be journaling my thoughts for the day. I did originally try to use an insert for the journal, and I found I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. In fact, it was a deterrent. There's something about wanting to write in something that's already pre-dated and got the fancy Tomo River paper for me. I'm a material girl in a material world. That was more appealing to me. So I got this, I got it all set up, it's ready to rock and roll. It doesn't actually even need any setup, so that makes me happy. So that is what this sucker's for. He takes up the most room, and I think it's probably going to do me the most mental good. This one right here, this weekly, is actually for my gaming stuff. Mostly, again, for Final Fantasy 14, because as you guys saw earlier, I had a checklist on there of things that I was trying to do. But on here, it's kind of like the more extensive checklist in the sense that these are things that I kind of need to do on a weekly and daily basis for the gameplay, right? So this is the content that I tend to like to run. I want to be able to say where I run it, some game things that I like to do, and then right here in the section under it, I'm just going to write whatever the summary of what happened that day was, in the sense of like who did my character talk to, what happened, any big events, stuff like that. And I do that because I used to actually do this in Notion, and that was really beneficial to me, but I don't need to do it at the extension that I did with Notion. This is really just going to be a memory keeper for me, so that way I can flip back to it and be kind of like, did that happen that day? Like, I don't recall off the top of my head. And then there are some, what I like to call freedom pages here in the back, blank pages. And what I will likely do is make a checklist of things that need to get done in the game. Like there's a legacy weapon, certain in-game content that I would like to do that I have to get geared for, stuff like that. So that's all going to go right here. Okay, so that is Chonky. And I honestly love how this is set up right now. I've been using it since I was in Texas in October. And it's working pretty well for me right now. Granted, as I've mentioned on several videos before and a couple of live streams, I tend to switch systems every 3 months because my life seems to change every 3 months. But one of the things that I know that I like to do is I like to set up planners. I know that sounds really weird, but I like to set them up. I actually did one like a week and a half ago, and I gifted it to a friend. That's how much I like to do it, right? And one of the things that I want to do to keep me interested in the current system that I have right now, and also keep it flexible in case things happen, is actually using these inserts that I'm using right now. I showed you guys how the daily here kind of is going to change, right? And this is honestly going to be where I will end up doing the most change at, which is on the daily basis. And since this is set up for every 2 to 3 months, that gives me more flexibility to adjust as my life changes, and it's going to. That's just how it is. Now, I will confess, I actually did at one point have 2 planners, and now those 2 planners are in this. And what I mean by that is I had a separate planner that was just for all my author stuff. Like, this was the concentrated place for everything that I had to do with being an author, like all the works I had in progress, publishing schedule, stuff like that. And what I discovered in the last 2 months is I didn't pick this up. I didn't go to it. And what I kept doing is I was putting everything in here. So if that's where I'm going to instantly go to, I'm not going to waste my time in this. I don't know what I'm going to do with this other insert. I thought about turning it into like a role play thing, but I already have a role play notebook, right? And so I don't know if I want to set up something different for that. I might, I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling at the time, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm looking at this and I just had a thought, and I'm going to share it with you guys because this is probably going to happen and it's going to frustrate me, and I may end up changing inserts anyway. And the thing that I'm kind of noticing is, so all of these inserts right here, they're all on Tomo River paper, right? Absolutely love that paper. I like to write on it. It's light. It doesn't take up much space. But one of the problems is that it will bulk up quickly depending on what I do with it. So if we take a look at my daily insert right here, that thing has thickened up pretty good, right? Like that's what it is at the moment, when originally it started off very condensed like this. So I have a feeling this thing is going to grow a little tiny bit on me, and I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with that, but I will figure it out. I think probably in the worst case scenario, I will go back to Good Ink Impressions and I will get a couple of A6s to go with this, and maybe like, and again, like in 3 months from now, we'll see what's going on. I may go ahead and switch it over quite like that. And man, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't let it go. God, what have I done? All right, anyway, sorry about that. You guys are watching me have a planner crisis literally as I'm sharing my planner with you. That is Chunky in a nutshell and how I use it, and I hope that some of you are able to gain some insight. If you have any questions about how I am using this or any clarification about products or anything else like that, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I will try to put a link to everything that I have used in this planner down there for you if that is something that you would like to emulate. I will make a note that if you try to get notebooks from Good Ink Impressions, it is a company that is in Spain. It will take a little while to get to you, and there are import fees. So just be ready for that. It is definitely an investment, but I fucking love them, so I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, again, my name is Carrow Brown, urban fantasy author. Links down below if you would like to support me. And that is my planners. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.